Hey everyone, and welcome back to Car Mechanic Simulator 2018 here with a trio of Salem Spectre Fastbacks. We have the Spectre 500, I'm sorry about that, which will be our first supercharged engine that we have. I'm guessing it's 500 because of the vehicle horsepower, because if we take a look at it, factory horsepower should be 498 on that one. Next we have the standard Salem Fastback, just another V8. Factory rating at 306 on this one for a dual carb V8. I think we've probably worked on something similar to this before. I don't think it's exactly the same as the Challenger engines we just did. I'm pretty sure it's quite a bit different, to be honest with you. These two are both barn finds. And my third one is the Salem Spectre Fastback 289, which I'm guessing is the cubic inches of this engine. It's because it says when I look in here at the car status, it says it's a V8 overhead Windsor. Windsor was a good Ford block back in the day. The 289 was one of the smaller preceding engines of the 302 5.0 V8, which are the most famous engines in a Ford car ever. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get these disassembled, get the bodywork cleaned up, which I really shouldn't need a lot on a couple of them. And then start going and seeing what we have. Oh, look at that. I just noticed those headlights have little crosses in them. That is the only one that has that. That is interesting. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on that when I put this back together. Let's see what does it say. Right headlight B. So this one may have already been a modified vehicle. Oh, taillights look any different? Oh yeah, the taillights definitely look different. So this one might have actually had some of the performance tuning already done on it as well. I'm not sure if those taillights and headlights are factory design or not. It looks like that's really the only things I see on the outside that look a little different. So I'm going to cut away as I get these up in the air and start taking them apart. I might actually just time-lapse all of this for you guys. And with everything now torn apart, we're going to go ahead and repair them. So I'm going to cut away while I do that because that's kind of boring to film. So we'll get them all repaired. And ooh, no, I thought there was glass still in that one for a second. We'll get them all repaired and come back in a second and see what we can do to start reassembling. And after that little break to repair and get some parts, I think I have the right stuff for all three engines. I'm pretty sure for that last engine, that 289, that I'm not, for the Windsor there, I'm not going to have everything I need. But we will get to that point when we get there. And I didn't get my batteries yet, so I'm going to have to remember to do that now. That one should be good. Yes, it is. Get that one on the charger until I do the next car. And we're going to throw this on some time lapse in again for you. So as you see, those two engines are very, very similar. I mean, honestly identical, except for the intake and above. So really not much difference on those two. But now going into this one, it's a little bit different of an engine. I don't know if I have all the parts correct for it that I have. Some of them are branded parts, some are not. So I don't think everything's going to work. So you probably see me going back and forth doing a lot of buying and stuff like that, trying to get the parts that I need to get this one together. But we're going to jump on that here and get this taken care of as well. And now that we have all three of the engines assembled, oil in them, hopefully I'm not missing any parts. I don't think I am. We're going to start throwing on some body parts. We'll start with let's start with this one over here. Why not? Alright, and with all three of them back assembled body-wise, let's bring over our machines. So apparently, when I was looking at the odd icon that I seen on the item pick screen, it was meaning this car had a livery put on it, which I wasn't even aware of. So that's kind of interesting. So there's all of our cars exterior and interior taken care of. Well, I still got to put the interior in them, so I'm going to cut away again and look at that. Once I get the interior in, then we'll get the wheels put on, because I do have some pretty cool wheels for all three of these. Some pretty interesting tire options. So we're going to go ahead and cut away as I try to figure out what I'm going to do interior-wise, and then we'll see you back in a few moments. Alright, and now that we have... Let's go back into interior mode now. Let's get them assembled. So this one I'm going with a black interior. And I'm going to pull that back out a second, because... And now that I have all of our interior pieces, we're going to take a look to see... I'm going to go with... This one's going to have the black interior. For some reason, I don't know why, I bought 3 of the one seat. And then our steering wheel, there we go. So there's our interior on that one. The car is not going to stay pink. I already have another idea for that one. I do like purple, but I'm not going to stay purple with this one. I don't think I will, at least. Go back into interior. This one's going to get the darker brown seat. Yeah, I'm not going to stick purple with that dark brown. I don't like it. But I wanted all 3 of them to have different interiors. So this one will probably stay this yellowish, orangish color. Or I might go a little different with this one. I might go something really light colored on this one, to kind of go with the very oddly colored seats we have in there. Oh, and I forgot to put steering wheels in both of these. Go back to this. There we go. This one was getting that weird looking one there. And then go over here, interior symbol. Kind of more of a traditional style one there. Alright. Now let's get our wheels on real quick. So just for the fun of it, put all 3 of them up in the air. There we go. So this one I went with some 18-inch wheels. This was the size and design that was on it, so we're not going back with that. We are going to go with these right here. And I really hope they fit right. And it's a big tire and big rim. We're gonna see if I can. There we go. Now I can get to the back one easier. And these are even bigger. So I went up 50 millimeters in width on the rear from what the original size had on it, plus 3 inches taller on the rim itself. So I mean, it's quite a bit of a different look to it. And we're gonna go ahead and drop that one back down. These I went up to a 17-inch wheel. And same size all around on this one, so nothing too crazy. The 255 width that we had on the other car originally, but just the little bit bigger rim basically is all I did here. They all share the same offset, so that makes it a little bit easier for me to kind of go through everything. Let me get that one back on the ground, or down, get this one all the way down. God, those back wheels on this thing are just huge. Look at them stick out so much. Like, oh my gosh, that is insane. Yeah, those are definitely big back tires. Get that one on the ground while we get this one together. And this is basically taking on this one, this is the same rims and tire size that came on that Salem 500 over there. Not the same type of tire. The tires, I went just back to a vintage tire instead of the other two. The other two there had vintage race tires. So we'll get this one back on the ground. So with the offset on it, looks pretty good. Brings those tires out a little bit. Those are ET10s. These are ET10s on the front and ET20s on the rear, which is, plus the fact that it's got that big tire makes it look super wide. And then here is the 255s with 0 ET. No. And I was thinking about sticking with this factory color, but I don't think I will now. Simply because I don't think it's going to look good with that interior that we have on here. Let's see what I can come up with. Okay. Take some of the saturation out of it. Bring some of the darkness down, I think. So that's a really kind of odd color, but I kind of like the way it looks with those seats. So let's see if I can find the full livery here. Don't want the double blacks, so it looks like it's just that one. And we'll send this back out to the lift. Nope. I want to actually, I do like that color, and I think it looks okay with those seats. I think the seats are a little bit too tall for it, but that's okay. I don't mind that too much. We're going to go ahead and move this one into the dyno now so I can get the next one in. Let's see here. We'll get you into paint. This is the one that I'm just really not certain on color-wise. I mean, I really like the purples, but I know this is not going to look good purple. And I've done a purple already, so let's try. And I've done red, so I wonder if I can find an orange that I like. I think maybe. Don't think teal will work very well. Actually, it doesn't look bad. Let's see, maybe brighter. Not as bright. Yeah, definitely gotta go brighter, if anything. Oh, that's the saturation. Never mind. Let's get the brightness. There we go. A little bit darker. I think that's good there. Yeah, I kind of like that. And I don't think I'm going to put the library on this one because I can either do a white stripe. Actually, the white stripe does not look bad. So we're going to go ahead and do that as well. I'm looking at the wall. And we'll go send that back out to the shop. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I like that. It's not as bright of a color as I expected it to be. So, didn't get exactly what I was looking for. I don't want to tune it. I want to move this one into the paint booth now. And here we are going to go. I know I'm going to do the dual black stripe livery. I'm going to keep it with the metallic. Trick is, maybe it's that right there. Take that out. Ah, there we go. Kind of wish the livery would come back down over the hood, but apparently since this is the custom hood for the supercharged engine, it won't work. We're going to go gray on this one. And we'll put that back on. Let's put it on the closest lift to me. A bit darker. I'm probably going to have to change that. Maybe I probably won't, but kind of would like it to be a lighter gray. I tell you, under the lights in that paint booth, it is super bright. So your colors don't often end up right. Is everything good here? The only thing I'm missing should be the license plates, just because I didn't bother to put them on. Yeah, so we're okay there. Run the dyno. Factory rated of 218 horsepower and 304 torque. Should have hit run while I was talking. Remember, this was the smallest of the three, the least powerful that we had. Up to 384 horsepower, so that's a huge gain. And 518 foot-pounds of torque, that's a really significant, I mean, huge increase. And so we'll send you back out there. And we'll put you at the door itself. Now grab our next one. Now this was the standard fastback. 306 horsepower and 397 foot-pounds of torque. I don't expect 76% increase on power and torque, but we'll see how we go. I'm thinking maybe 50-ish. Wow. Almost doubled the horsepower on 594 horsepower, 751 foot-pounds of torque, 89% increase. I mean, that's just an unreal difference. That just blew my mind. I didn't expect to have as much power gain as we did there. So that makes me wonder about this one. I mean, are we going to see our first car that can hit 1,000 horsepower? And the other one had almost 100% increase in power alone. This one has all of those performance parts as well as the supercharger. So we might just see 1,000 horsepower cars. So going from 498 and 691 as our baseline factory numbers. You can hear that little whistle from the supercharger, which is pretty nice. I don't think it was as strong as I expected it to be, though. 942 horsepower, so it's 90% increase. 1,200 foot-pounds of torque, almost 1,300. It's still over 85% increase. That I want to go drive this one. Like, I know I'm not going to be able to control it, but I want to go drive it. I'm going to put it out on. Let's go to the Top Gear track. Third gear, still spinning tires. Fourth gear, spinning tires. I did not expect this to be an easy car to drive. Let's get this back on the road. It's so easy to lose it. That's only like a quarter throttle too. I'm not. How many cars do you burn out in reverse? That is insane. Now I'm only about a third throttle. About half. Now I'm gonna go full. $200 mph. But it somehow didn't catch it. So even though the game didn't count it, this was our first car to reach 200 mph, 26, 27 seconds, something like that. And a value of only $82,000 for a 200 mph car. Who would not want to buy a nearly 1,000 horsepower, 200 mph classic muscle car for $82,000? That's insane. But that'll be all for today. And I don't know what I'm going to come at you with next week. I've got a lot of cars in the parking garage right now. Maybe we'll actually just go to a junkyard or barn find and pick something out. Maybe I'll use my other account that's a little bit more built up with this and do something completely different. But we will check you guys later. See you next week.